You can't eat money.
Every day that you open your mouth, I'm more convinced that you're abducted by aliens.
I'm just telling you what I remember. Holy moly.
And then one time they taste your blood, and then they eat your liver.
Right.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
That's the sound of the harmonica flying through the air.
Biologically speaking, very nice.
It's nice. Okay.
It's nice. Beating a sheep to death.
Oh.
I got stuff for you you don't even know about.
Wait till I get my ham hands on you.
I know, it's got big ham hands. It can't do nothing.
That's what I'm saying. I never heard that. It's hands the size of hams. What? Who wrote this?
And just like, oh, this is neat. I'll see this next year on an article.
Yeah.
Write my little paper and then send it on to the back of the house.
And then it...
The back of the house.
Yeah.
Welcome to Cryptids of the Corn podcast. Welcome back. Part 5, season finale. Woo!
Part 5, season 5, season finale.
Woo!
A lot of numerical synchronicities going on here.
Woo! I'm the great and powerful mystery.
And I'm JClone33.
Bum, bum, bum. And we're going all the way to Europe for some living dinosaur sightings. Now, this one is definitely interesting. There are some very much saurian-like cryptids seen.
Ooh, yeah.
And then there's a lot of dragons. So it gets really hard to kind of discuss what's a dragon and what's a saurian.
Well, I have my opinions about that.
I'm sure you do. The end of the story is they all get murdered.
So there's a common denominator.
They all died.
Yeah.
Very bad.
Maybe.
They were all living out there, and maybe one attacked a cow one time.
Are they all dead?
In Europe?
Oh, yeah. Did they just leave Europe?
They all died in Europe.
Oh, okay.
They ate one too many cows.
You go to Europe to die.
All right. We're going to start with Norway.
Well, that's not Europe, is it? I guess it is Europe. It's not. It's the upper.
It's the continental. We're doing continents.
Scandinavian peninsula. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I forgot.
Europe.
It's been a long day. Okay.
It's not even close to being over. It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. Hey, there you are.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you about it now. No, so.
I'm back.
You ready for this name?
Okay.
It's Scandinavian.
Is it pear?
Yes.
Okay.
Sel Jordseman.
Okay.
Sel Jordseman. I think that's right.
Might be Jord.
Jordseman?
Yeah.
Sel Jordseman.
Jordsman. Yeah.
Sel Jordseman.
That's close enough.
Sel Jordseman. Sella means lake monster. So it's a specific lake monster.
Okay.
Sel Jordseman, or Sella, and the lake monster suited for the Telemark, Norway, and Lake Seldra Morvat. It's a 12-mile long lake, 1.5 mile wide, icy body of water formed from glaciers during the last ice age. As far back as the late 1750s, reports of a supersized reptilian creature living in the lake have circulated from the regions. Eyewitness reports from today number over 500, generally describing a creature dubbed Selma by the locals. She is 30 to 45 feet long, mostly serpentine-like creature resembling a large anaconda with several humps and large, wide, stumpy legs.
Okay.
Sightings of Selma. One early documented encounter with Selma dates back to 1880, but with a man named Borge.
Okay. I know these names are like they exist.
And his mother, Gunchil. Were said to have cut and attacking Selma in half.
Ooh.
So Borge was being attacked by this creature. According to this report, the lower portion of the creature squirmed and writhed in pain, while the front part left the rot on the shore.
Oh, okay.
So the creature lunged out like a crocodile or an alligator, tried to get them. He apparently cut it in half. The back end writhed in pain and disappeared into the lake, and the front half just laid there and rotted.
Rotted to death. So he's like, yeah.
Rotted to death, yes. Another report, early one summer morning in 1918, fine weather on the mirror-like surface on the lake. Carl Carlson. I don't know what's with these names.
Bjorg and Carl Carlson.
I'm not even joking. Walked down to the bridge on the Sundays to try his luck fishing. Suddenly he saw a strange animal in the waters closing in fast. As it came close to Carl, he was so scared that he threw down his fishing pole and ran. He described the animal as having the head of that of a horse. They held its head easily 3 foot out of the water. When the animal came within 150 feet of the bridge, it stopped, sank straight down, and disappeared.
Okay, what kind of fisherman is this?
I know.
What kind? I would have been casting right at that thing, trying to hit it between the eyes.
I'm like, Selma, you're coming home with me.
Yeah.
That summer, Torgel Borges found large meat-like chunks, like that of a serpent-like creature, floating on the lake, on the Sundays. Oh, that's an area in the lake. On another occasion, he saw an animal that had on the beach resembling a crocodile, but quickly vanished into a pile of stones. So like a cave.
Oh, okay.
2 years later, Evid Forgensen went out to the Shinnesofen to fish. I just love these names because it's a lot of double letters.
Yeah.
And I never know what to do with it in my brain. It is so unusually warm and calm that day on an unbroken surface. As he came to the point, he saw a strange animal on its way out to the lake and onto the cliffs. It turned back and to look at him and then slipped back down into the waters. He described the animal as being 15 to 20 meters long.
That's like
15 to 20 meters.
So like 60 feet?
Yeah. Narrowing with a head resembling that of a mix between a crocodile and a horse. The animal was black in color. It had fin-like feet on the front part, right below its legs, or right below its neck. It had no eyes or mouth that he could see, but the animal turned its head from side to side, seeming to scout and listen. So when he discovered this, he quickly went back into the water again. In 1996, 2 men were fishing around dusk on the lake, and Selma went silent and was broken by a sudden commotion in the water. A horse-like head attached to a 10-foot-long neck rose out of the water. The creature stared at the 2 fishermen from about 8 inches away before slowly submerging back into the water.
So they were like 8 inches from its face?
Yes.
It's like from a movie.
Popped up and was just staring at him.
Yeah.
And goes right back down. So, like I said, I didn't want to include a whole bunch of lake monsters. This one gets included because it's on land quite a bit. I have more encounters.
Yeah.
This one's on land quite a bit. It's kind of like a long crocodile.
Okay.
It could be I don't think it's our giant salamander of Northern Europe because its head is much more taller and round like a horse. And a lot of sauropods, hadrosaurs, all kinds of dinosaurs had a very horse-like head, convergent evolution, what they're eating. So that's why I kind of put it in this one. Very odd, but it's seen on land a lot. It goes into caves a lot.
Yeah,
It's also in the water a lot. But this one where it raised up like a cartoon, looking in the face.
Yeah, come on.
Who wrote this?
Right. Are you saying that because of me?
Yeah. Early on the morning of July 2001, a father and son from Olsen, who wished to remain nameless, decided to take a quick walk down to the lake for a refreshing swim. Scandinavians are crazy. Because this lake is just a glacial pit.
It's a refreshing swim.
I'm sure the warmest it gets is 40 degrees. When they were about 100 yards away, they noticed something strange on the beach, but they assumed it was either a fallen log or a pile of old car tires that had washed ashore.
Okay, could be.
The two stopped about 30 feet from the beach, and they witnessed what they could only describe as a giant snake-like creature at the water's edge. The animal held its head towards the water, unaware of the presence of them. But as they watched, the sun suddenly makes a noise, and the beast turned its long neck right around and stared directly at them. According to the two witnesses, they reported to be a represented member of the commons. The creature had a head as large as a calf, like the calf of the animal.
Yeah.
The encounter lasted roughly 10 seconds before the beast swung its head back around and started to pick up its massive legs and went back into the water.
Okay.
The two described it having an enormous body, being in which 30 foot long and as thick as a car tire. Since 1997, John Ova Schoenberg.
Wait, what year? You said that really fast.
1977. Sorry.
Okay.
Jana Ova Schoenberg, president and the founder of GUEST, the global underwater search team, has been on the front lines of searching for Selma and many other Norway's so-called lake monsters. Better than the other team that blew up one in Russia.
Right, and claimed, there it
big
is.
fish.
A big hunk of meat. There it is. That's the monster.
They did have a big hunk of meat.
Right, yeah.
Collecting firsthand accounts of the creature was allegedly leading his team to take an attempt to locate Selma using sonar and hydrophones. In August 2000, Schoenberg led his team, comprised of international researchers, among which are two Norwegian molecular biologists,
Okay.
on the mission to capture a live specimen of the creature known as Selma. The team planned to use a COMET, Cooperative Monster Eel Trap.
That's a cool acronym.
I didn't even know they made these till this.
You gonna get you a comment?
If I could buy one, I would.
We'll make one.
A specialist designed monster trap professional made by Interfisk AS at Holmers outside of Kyrgyzstan on the coast of southwest Norway. So this is a trap specifically made for monster hunting.
Yeah.
Only in Norway. Where it's like, do you want to have monsters? Yeah. There's a Walmart down there that sells monster traps.
Traps, yeah.
The trap was named for such to get around the fact that Selma, the creature like her, is protected and illegal to catch. So most of Norway's lake monsters have federal protections. So they made this monster eel trap to catch monster eels.
Interesting.
Not Selma.
Right. Okay.
So the Norwegian authorities claim it's illegal to mess with these. The comet is 18 feet long, 15 feet in circumference. It's a supersized eel trap. I mean, it's the same eel trap. I'm not kidding.
15 feet across?
Yeah, you could park a big truck in it.
Yeah. Semi-truck.
Semi-truck without a trailer.
Right,
yes.
without a trailer, yeah.
The opening was designed to enter and attach like by live fish using bait. The creature would never actually reach the fish, however. And the section themselves, and whenever any creature who tries to escape the trap, this construction would not allow it. The idea of the trap came from limnologist Dr. Antel Hidler of Norwegian Institute of Water Research. The plan to use the comet to capture a juvenile giant lake serpent between 3 and 15 feet length, take DNA and other samples, tag the creature, and release it back in. That's why they had the molecular biologist on board.
Okay.
They were never going to hurt this creature.
No.
It was never their plan. The whole plan was to put whatever they caught back in the lake.
And collect its DNA.
Yep. Speculations. Microbiologist Norwegian, who was standing by, would analyze the data in order to categorize the creature and determine its genus. Unfortunately, the team and their trap came up empty. But they did get something interesting on a sonar reading. Speculations of the creature really range from giant catfish, giant eels, a prehistoric relic dinosaur to giant anacondas. I can tell you which one of those is not there. According to, although reptiles have not been capable of surviving in such cold weather like Lake Selma, some have suggested the form of reptile may have evolved to survive these harsh climates. When we know dinosaurs, for example, could survive harsh climates like this. There were dinosaurs all the way up in the Arctic Circle. With guests leading the expedition in the lake almost every year, their team is expecting to grow large numbers every day in order to matter the time before the prestigious crew of explorers bring in Selma to the light.
Did they?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it's a weird one. I don't know if it's a dinosaur or typical lake monster. Anybody at home can say whatever. But this one is really cool that it had such ongoing active research and so many people looking for it.
And they built a giant trap to catch it.
Have you found a picture of it?
I'm trying to. It's hard to find.
Well, Scandinavia. You got to change. You got to get a VPN.
Oh, that's probably why. Because it's shown me a bunch of eel traps, but I'm I put Norway. I put Comet. I'm trying everything, but we'll find it though eventually. But man, I want to see how giant this thing is.
So here's another weird one.
Okay.
The Stonesy beast.
Stonesy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stonesay is how it's spelled, but it's Stonesy.
Okay.
The Stonesy beast was a large carcass that washed ashore on the island of Stonesy. It's spelled, like I said, Stonesy.
Okay.
In the Orkney Islands, Scotland, after a storm of 25th of September of 1808. Long time ago.
About 100 and, well, 200.
1808. A long time ago.
Little over 200 years ago.
The carcass, measuring 55 feet in length, was part of a tail was apparently missing. The animal must have been longer than that. The description of this follows. So we're going to read this exactly how it is.
Okay.
The flesh was described as being that of coarse, ill-colored beef, entirely covered with fat and tallow that allowed at least resemble the affiliate of any fish. The skin, which was gray-colored and elastic texture, which is said to be about 2 inches thick in parts. The Natural History Museum Award of Edinburgh, could not identify the carcass and decided it was a new species, probably that of a sea serpent. I'll get to why this is in the dinosaur category.
Okay.
Later, a person that studies anatomy, Sir Henry Holmes of London, dismissed the measure, declaring it must have been at around 36 feet, and deemed it the decaying basking shark. So that happened a lot. There's a lot of creatures that were basking sharks that were decaying, were being held the wrong way.
Yeah.
But in 1849, a Scottish professor, John Goodsir of Edinburgh, came to the same conclusion. The latest reliable record of a basking shark was about 40 feet in length. So 55 feet in length, the beastie of stone still constitutes was something of a cryptozoological enigma. So the first guy could only say it was a basking shark because he said they measured it. They said it had to only be 36 feet in length.
Okay.
So it was 55 feet in length. There's probably no way it was a basking shark.
Or it's a super mega-sized basking shark.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already big, but come on.
They're big, but they're not that big.
Not 60 feet, yeah.
The Stonesy beast was 55 feet long, measured by 3 witnesses separately, one of which was a carpenter and 2 were farmers. Why we make it important of the carpenter is in 1808, carpenters knew how to measure.
Absolutely.
So I want to make that very prominent. You can say whatever about a farmer in 1808. What I don't know. But a carpenter worked with measurements.
Everyone makes
exact measurements.
Right. And everyone makes those jokes like, oh, the dumb farmer of 1800s. Yeah, right. You know how smart and innovative those people were?
They have to be.
Yeah.
It was 4 foot wide with a circumference of approximately 10 feet. It had sets of paws/wings. So they were decaying. Mm-hmm. They weren't flippers. They had legs with little like toesies on it, according to the people that seen it. It had skin with it was smooth, and its stoked head to tail was roughly stoked. Sorry, well that was right weird. Roughly went. Oh, it's felt really rough when you rubbed it like a shark.
Gotcha.
The fins or feet or paws on the edge were like it had bristles and like a mane running down its back. So once again, this coarse bristles.
Okay.
The bristles glue in the dark. Apparently.
Oh, okay.
I cannot talk today. The bristles glowed in the dark, apparently when wet. The stomach contents were red. So they cut it open. Huh?
Eating krill.
Could be. Jovan Simpson, a geneticist from Orkney, researched the evidence suggested by the Stonesy beast was indeed an unusually large basking shark, or possibly a new species of shark, probably closely related to basking sharks. The drawings of the Stonesy beast decaying carcass in similar shape and size of the Loch Ness monster. But yeah, just a weird one.
Didn't you said it had like little toes though?
They said it did. So
what kind of shark, basking shark, has little toes?
Well, they said that was just because it was rotting, so it was like falling apart.
But still, would it, even if it was falling apart?
No, they're saying there's probably like bones and stuff like that coming out of the flesh.
Yeah, but I mean, do sharks have those bones?
Okay,
that would
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. They're not feet.
I know, I'm aware of that. Correct.
It's like the ribs opening up out of the skin.
Correct, but they said it was on the ends of the fins, right?
So like the ribs opening up, looking like appendages.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think I understand now.
Okay. No, but if you look at the drawing of this thing, it looks like it doesn't look like a plesiosaur to me. It looks like a sauropod dinosaur.
Yeah, like a diplodocus.
There you go.
Arc.
So how could the carcass of this strange let's say it is a sauropod. How could it end up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean to wash up on the shore of Scotland? Isn't that weird?
Well, no, how did the ocean currents flow around that area?
It could be from anywhere. I'm just saying it's
Right.
weird that it ended up in the ocean.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, all things end up in the ocean, don't they?
Not all things.
Well, I mean, for the most part.
I don't think so.
Most things that wash down river end up in the
Yes,
ocean.
most things that wash down river end up in the ocean.
So if it died near any river or water or anything, I'm not shocked it ended up there. Or if they were transporting across the ocean and like couldn't make the journey, so they just tipped it overboard and it died.
And then it died.
Yeah, it's probably dead before. I don't know. It's strange, yeah, that it washed up. Did you have like a point to that, or just that it was odd?
It will be a point in the final episode.
Okay.
That sometimes dinosaurs don't end up where they're supposed to.
Right, correct.
My next one is the Lake Van monster. This is in Turkey.
Lake Van.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monster in Turkey. Lake Van monster is a cryptid in Lake Van in the south of Mount Orest in eastern Turkey. Some of which the best known documented sightings of the creature appeared in 1995 to 1997. The first sighting was documented in 1889. The largest lake in Turkey. The Turkish name for this is Van Gogh Korvavi.
Okay.
The Lake Van monster is allegedly sighted by over thousands and thousands of eyewitnesses. The monster is said to resemble that of an ancient marine reptile, like a plesiosaur. So I want to make this clear. We talked about this with the plesiosaurs. They could not pick their neck up out of the water.
Okay.
They weren't sauropods.
Right.
You look at like the sauropods, like skeletal system.
Yeah.
Their heads and necks were massive. Their heads weren't massive, but their necks, the weight of it was massive.
Okay.
They had different style bones to pick those heads straight up.
So Lapras is a lie?
Is it? Maybe it's a swimming brontosaurus.
It looks like a sauropod.
So all these sightings have the big, huge neck sitting up out of the water.
Right.
So yeah,
And plesiosaurs did not.
they, as far as we know, they couldn't.
Right.
But who knows? Anything could be possible. Sightings have been reported internationally since November of 1995. Some research suggests that the creature had sightings prior to that, but it's really hard to tell. Supposed short video of the Lake Van monster was filmed in 1997 by a 26-year-old man from Van University teaching a teaching assistant, Yuri Kozov. This controversial video has baffled researchers. I highly suggest anybody look it up. So this is one where they keep saying plesiosaur. Doesn't look like a plesiosaur to me. None of the sightings look like a plesiosaur to me.
Yeah.
They look much more like a brontosaurus.
Okay.
But you don't see its feet. It never really leaves the water.
And, you know, the only brontosaurus-like creature besides the one at the very beginning in Canada and the Hudson Bay that they saw, besides all these episodes today, you don't really hear too many depictions of brontosauruses in water at all whatsoever, besides that Hudson Bay one, and then maybe Mokele and Bembe if you want to lump them into that. But other than that, besides what you're bringing up today, that's not like a common thought.
Right.
So,
Anything with a big neck is a plesiosaur.
and it's on land only. Like, you know what I mean?
No, a brontosaurus is all only on land.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Anything in the water that has a neck is a plesiosaur.
That's what it seems like.
And it seems like sauropods were probably very comfortable in the water.
Right, yeah. It's seeming that way.
So in 2010, a 121-year-old newspaper article was found about a big creature sighted in Lake Van. The article published at the newspaper named The Saddest News of Ottoman period year 1889. The article tells about sightings reported of 3 men traveling from Tarva to Alfat. Travelers say that they were camping near the lake when they went to wash their hands in the water in the lake. While they were washing their hands, a big creature appeared in the water quickly and attacked them. The creature, they captured one. It captured one of the 3 from from his leg and tried to pull him back into the lake. Other 2 tried to save their friend, and their strength wasn't enough to rescue him, and the creature was too strong. So they picked up some fire in their camp and attacked it with fire with the creature. The fire touched the creature. It screamed an excruciating, ear-splitting noise and fled to the deep, and took the man with it. The man that is captured never was found again. So very odd. 100. What did I say? 121-year-old.
Yeah, newspaper article.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up too because I wanted to see where it was situated in Turkey. Big fan of Turkey. I like their history, but it says that Lake Van is I don't know what a saline soda lake is, but it says it's very strongly alkaline and rich in sodium carbonate and other salts. and there's only one known fish that live in there. It says the pearl mullet. I mean, I don't know what that means. I just thought that was interesting. Only one species of fish is known to live in this entire lake because it's so the chemistry of the lake. But it says it has a bunch of other species of phytoplankton, small stuff. But it's weird, though. I mean, to me, that's weird. And then now you have this big monster creature in there.
And I don't think it wants to be there.
Okay.
So there were stories. I didn't include a lot of them because they were just like the King Arthur's dragon.
Yeah.
Like he stabbed a rhino-like dragon to death.
Yeah.
There's also a cow dragon. That's kind of the rough name of the story. Basically, there's another herbivorous dragon appeared in pastures and farmlands that was killing cattle.
Okay.
Wasn't eating them, just was murdering these cows.
Mm-hmm.
And it appeared to be like ceratopsian without the frill.
Mm.
So there's always the chance that it was a rhino somebody, like some rich man brought up from Africa and got out.
What are those? One rhino's called that were stabbing the elephants in the sides.
None of your business.
Oh, okay.
We're not in Africa yet.
Okay. Sorry. Well, you just said it.
About Europe.
Yeah.
But no. They come up later.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I kind of figured that as you were giving me the wide-eyed death stare.
Another one is another dragon. The Belalus dragon, or the Benelos dragon. It's a legendary monster in Spain, in Catalonia, Spain, and Lake Benelux. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Benyoles.
Okay. I don't know.
Belalus. But it's a famous lake monster there. Dragon, sorry. According to the legend, the Belalus monster lives in the lake in the Gora region in northeastern Spain hundreds of years ago. In the 18th century, the French monk named Sir Etimo coaxed the beast from the lake using prayers and transformed the creature into a peaceful herbivore.
Wow.
It is said that the Belalus lake dragon still lives in the depths of the lake to today.
But he's a herbivore now.
Yeah. So
which means you're still not safe.
this is a long-necked, long-tailed, giant animal. So there's some children's songs about it and stuff like that. So this seems, there's a lot of stories. There's actually festivals and stories talking about how the town would feed it all kinds of leftover veggies and stuff like that.
Oh, it's like their Sam.
It was like it was Sam the Sunday, or the Sam.
Sinkhole Sam.
Yeah, Sinkhole Sam. It was a big town pet.
Yeah.
There's children's books with it and stuff like that. They showed it living in the lake, but it was quite comfortable on land. I would not call this a true sea serpent whatsoever, or a lake monster.
What showed it talked about the legs being...
Yeah, it was a sauropod, shaped animal. It had little fins on its head and little wings on its back, but it had big thundering legs and a big long tail and a big head.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just thought of something too, and being sauropod, just about sauropods. We talked about how recently, and like the newest Walking with Dinosaurs thing where they kind of depict them with those big chambers on their necks. What if those were used for like buoyancy things?
Oh, they could have been.
Because if it's structure controlling their tail and their neck, maybe that's why they're so long.
So yes, they had flow-through breathing.
Yeah.
Which is something I've watched 10 videos on trying to explain it to me, and I still don't fully understand it.
I have no idea what that means.
They breathe with their whole body.
Okay.
It's a very odd...
So instead of having just lungs...
Right, they have little sacs kind of all over their body.
Okay.
But when it's like a bagpipe almost.
Yeah.
When they breathe, there's many chambers inside.
Right.
So even though the one pump looks like us breathing, it's very different things are happening.
It's probably constant.
It may be 3 or 4 breaths.
Yeah.
To circulate all of the oxygen, all the air through those chambers.
Right, yeah.
So with the little flaps on like this dragon's head, let's say this fully looks like how it looked like. So it had 4 big legs, the big long head. It was like children and stuff. It was like a town pet.
Yeah.
It had the flaps on the back. Those could have been breeding displays, the big chambers.
Like my flaps?
Like your flaps.
Yeah. That's for breeding displays.
A mating display. There you go. It's working great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really worked. Successful.
But yeah, I think Europe killed a lot of their dinosaurs a long time ago.
Well, Europe's so relatively small. And if there's any place that's not explored or that's fully explored,
it's Europe.
It's Europe.
Scandinavia, maybe there. But yeah, so this dragon, there's a whole like stories and folk tales and all kinds. This one has all kinds of cool stuff with it. Like it became a town pet. They had the festival with it once a year. It would go and live in the mountains.
Yeah.
and come down once a year for the harvest feast.
That's pretty unbelievable.
It was
but like
huge.
amazing if it's true.
Yeah.
If it's
So,
true, I want to believe that one's true.
I don't know. To me, I wonder if they found a brontosaurus and it was like a big dumb dog. It was just happy.
Like food.
Oh, watermelon,
I mean, they seem pretty chill and
cabbage,
and Land Before Time. Like the grandma, is it mom, and dad, or grandma and grandpa?
grandma and grandpa.
Yeah,
his mom died in the first movie,
That's
first
right.
2 minutes.
That's very sad. Yeah, I mean, their grandma and grandpa's pretty relaxed and chill. I imagine
And his dad was a deadbeat. He didn't meet till like movie 6.
Oh, no wonder why.
I'm not joking.
I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah, so there's more. There's tons and tons more to this one. But yeah, I think Europe killed all their... The dragon stories really stopped in like the 11th century.
Yeah.
There were still dragons, don't get me wrong, past that point. Like, there were some up to the 1800s, people seeing dragons.
Right. Yeah.
Dinosaurs, depending on the species, like, we think sauropods lived into 200 or 300 years. Like, just... Some people think they only lived to be 40. Like, it's highly argued.
How can you know? How can you tell? Yeah.
Generally, the bigger you are, the longer you live.
Yeah.
Because it takes you forever to get big.
And then it takes you forever to probably die.
And it takes you forever to rot.
Exactly.
I have one more dragon for Europe. Europe's going to be short. We're going to combine Europe and Africa together
Okay.
because Africa's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
But Europe's pretty short. But my last one is the Dragons of Rabak.
Okay.
And this sounds like I keep confusing myself because it sounds like a Middle Eastern country, and it's not. It's in the Gross Mountains, Poland, Czechoslovakia
Okay.
area. But yeah,
Northeastern Europe.
the Dragons of Rabak. It's Polish known as Smoks z Rabak, which is Dragons of Rabak. And do you want me to try to...
Yes.
Okay. Jazkuri z Rabaka,
Yeah, I know
which
what that
means
is.
reptiles of Rabak.
I mean, I know what that is.
Last sighted in 1897, it was now Rabak, Poland. These creatures resemble bipedal human-sized lizards. What else resembles bipedal human-sized lizards?
Raptors.
Yeah. Descendants of... Okay, described in Ormos Vorka's book, Plantia Zorata, which means planet of mysteries. These creatures presumably roamed the Gorse Mountains in the western Baskins, the Baskins are full of all kinds of paranormal things.
Oh, I know.
The Baskin Mountains?
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
I thought you were talking Carol.
Yes, also her. The Austrian-Hungary Mountains. But there's all kinds of like UFO stuff there.
Oh, okay.
All kinds of weird stuff.
An odd corner of the earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Known for attacking various animals, they've been presumed to be a significant threat to the local shepherds. The locals researcher compiled accounts of these in the late 1920s, including drawings by what he classified as uneducated villagers that strikingly resemble carnivorous dinosaurs from today, despite lacking any paleontological knowledge. So this is in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mountains. A researcher in the 1920s went out there, was researching some of these mysterious animals. When he was discovering the dragons of Rabak, they draw these dinosaurs very much like theropod. They draw these animals very much like theropod dinosaurs.
Okay.
He was very adamant that there was no chance any of these villagers knew what a dinosaur was.
Right, yeah. He kind of made them sound very uneducated by calling them uneducated.
I took it more as that they are so remote
Yeah.
that, keep in mind, dinosaurs were a very new-ish thing in like the 1880s.
Right?
So if you're out in the middle of these mountain ranges and you've been generational farming, you just may not have that knowledge.
Right, yeah. Slips through the cracks.
Or just like
It's never exposed to the cracks.
The dragons were described as lizard-like creatures about the size of a human, moving around on two legs, suggesting a bipedal stance similar to that of dinosaurs. They're presumed large and intimidating, fitting descriptions of many carnivorous dinosaurs. The drawings of these creatures by local villagers, despite their lack of paleontological knowledge, are strikingly resembled to now how we identify carnivorous dinosaurs. The creatures are known to inhabit the woodland foothills and caves of the Gorse Mountains in the western Baskins, indicating their preference for forest and mountain terrain. The reports pose a significant threat to local livestock, often attempt to kill sheep and cattle. Their aggressive nature extends to formidable predators like wolves that they are capable of killing. So these guys, when they move into an area, they kill not only the cattle, they kill everything else, like the wolves.
Yeah.
Observations suggest that these dragons were active from spring to autumn, and no records of activities in the winter, implying that they may hibernate during the colder months. So these dragons reportedly inhabit these dense forests and rugged terrain of the Gorse Mountains in the western Baskins. Their primary dwellings are caves and burrows near hot springs. There's tons of hot springs in the area and monstrous caves,
Okay. Well, that'd be a place where I would hang out too.
which may contribute to their survival in these regions, and otherwise, what would you think would be unsuitable for most large dinosaurs? The secluded and specific habitat, along with the region's unique microclimate, might have played a critical role in prolonging the survival of the Jurassic period or the Cretaceous period. The region was known for the brine water spa, and many brine water springs still there to this day.
Sounds pleasant.
It's very odd. It's super salty water.
Salty, but it's up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
It's a hot spring.
Yeah, it's very weird to have super salted water.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean, it's got to be like a salt deposit underneath it or something.
Probably a volcano, I'm going to assume.
Yeah,
That has just salt deposits near like a salt mine. I don't know.
Underwater sea. I don't know.
Some notable encounters involved the dragons killing wolves, an event that led the local priest to acquire the fur of an alpha wolf and his partner after refusing to relinquish their prey. Another rare incident recorded was an attack on a human, a shepherd who fiercely defended his sheep from the creature but unfortunately lost his life. The only reported attack on a human by these creatures. So there are tons of others in that book originally. It's very hard to find that book.
Okay.
It's been I don't have any clue where you could find it, but
They
other
burned
people
it.
looking for that book. Well, keep in mind it was probably a simple like a couple hundred prints ever done of it.
Yeah.
One local guy in the Baskin Mountains. So yeah, I would love to find it. But so a lot of times they were killing wolves, cattle, that kind of stuff. There's just not a lot to them. There's not a lot of people there. These creatures disappeared from Poland around the 1900, like right when it kind of changed over. There was the last push to kill them. A bunch of livestock, like sheep herders, got together and said they killed several of them. That may have been the last of them.
Hopefully.
Like we said, well, dragons, quote unquote, in Europe were getting to be short supply by the 1700s, let alone the 1900s.
Yeah. This might have been a last remaining pocket of them.
Yeah. Because of this kind of behavior of systematically wiping them out.
Yeah.
Like I said, he could find one confirmed attack on a human. The rest were wolves and cattle and sheep.
Yeah. It's like when our military wiped out all the buffalo.
That did happen.
Yeah.
A long time ago. All right, we're going to take an ad break, and when we get back, we'll move on to Africa. You ready?
Woohoo, yeah.
I, the great and powerful Mystery, have devised a diabolical plan. I am going to bring back a dinosaur so they can reveal their secrets of dynamite flavor. Hit the ray! What is that coming out of the tube? It's a dinosaur! Oh my gosh, what is that in your claws, dinosaur? Is that flavors of the forest, Bigfoot breath, raw garlic dust? Oh my gosh, this is the best stuff. It truly is dynamite. If you guys had this, how did you go extinct? Taxes gets us all. If you want some of this amazing and dynamite garlic dust, you can get it at flavorsforest.com/corn or the link below.
And we're back.
Appetizing.
Appetizing. I don't know who the dinosaur is. So moving on to Africa. Sorry about, I don't know. I feel bad about Europe because I think they're all dead.
Case closed.
I think they killed all the dinosaurs, aka the dragons.
I think I'm enough. I mean, do you seen Game of Thrones, how they treated them?
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Not great.
That's pretty much
War machines
That's like Europe's history, a microcosm of Europe's history.
is,
Game of Thrones.
there you go. Yes. All right. So we're going to talk about some African monsters. Now, you may have ruined one of them already.
They'll forget.
The killer of elephants, the eater of treetops, the Elma nokora.
Elmo Nokra?
The Elma
Elma.
nokora.
Nokara.
The African elephant killer is the
What it translates to.
white person's name.
Okay, the layman term.
Yeah. No, because and there's tons. So this animal has sometimes been lumped in with Mokele and Mbembe.
That's right. I remember us
It's not
talking about
Mokele
that.
and Mbembe,
Correct.
but some people try to lump it in together.
Right.
There are tons of names for this thing, and depending on where you're at in Africa, but the very similar animal, very different names. The Arcaramoca, which means basically water rhino. That's kind of the rough translation several times, is water rhino, depending on where you're at in Africa. The Amonakara, lake rhinos, water rhinos, then Narga Marai.
What's that one? Oh.
They all kind of roughly
Mean the
translate to
same thing.
either elephant killer, water rhino, rhino killer. It's a kind of a group thing.
Was the Necronomicon one of them?
Yes, the Necronomicon. These guys are very mean. We're going to talk about that. The Ilma Norkora basically translates to killer of elephants or eater of treetops. It seems to be a dinosaur-like cryptid reported from the rainforest swamps and rivers of the Republic of the Congo in South and also Southwest Central African Republic. Described as a horned animal with a comparison of that of a rhino or a ceratopsian dinosaur. So ceratopsians are?
Triceratops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's frequently synthesized with the older one, but now the lesser known Zimbabwe water rhino and the chikara. There's also tons in Cameroon. There has the Numbarus, which is another similar animal in Cameroon. The Nupirari in South Dominican of the Republic of Congo. And with certain reports of forest or water rhinos. So this animal is it's everywhere pretty much where there's forest in Africa.
Okay.
Tons and tons of different names. They kill elephants. They're not Mokele and Bembe. Mokele and Bembe looks very different, even though some researchers kind of lump them all together.
Right. Like the mysterious animal.
Yeah.
Must all be the same one.
The African elephant killer morphology has been described and is very well defined, but perplexing. It is said to be almost elephantine or rhinoceros.
Okay, there.
No,
Rhinoceros?
Rhinoceros-like amphibian creature with one single large horn on its nose, extremely heavy crocodile-like tail. So it has a large paddle tail with all kinds of bumps and ridges on it. Traditionally, two very different comparing theories regard what this could be, either a semi-aquatic rhino or some kind of living ceratopsian dinosaur. So this really looks like a ceratopsian without the frill.
Okay. The little crown on its head?
Yeah, that's what ceratopsians are known for, is
Right.
their big frill. There were some ceratopsians that had a very small frill. This creature seems to have no frill. Do you ever see the old depictions of dinosaurs, the big lizards?
Maybe, but I don't know.
It kind of looks like that. They did that with Iguanodon.
I mean, I probably have, but I don't know exactly what you're referencing.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So some notable witnesses: Lucy Burka, French colonial wildlife inspector, regular correspondent with Bernard Heuvelman, which is famous cryptozoologist Bernard Heuvelman.
Okay.
Published the first possible information regarding the African rhino killer in 1954, Mammalia article on forest rhinos of the Republic of Congo. And that's what he said about the French colony. The Africans in the north of the Kelly district, especially the pygmies, known for forest animals larger than buffalo, almost as large as elephant, but which are not hippopotamus. Its tracks are not only seen in intervals, but they are fear it more than any other dangerous animal. The sketch of its footprints, which are drawn by M. Mullet, are that of a rhinoceros. On the other hand, they have not been seen to have said it has a horn, though they are certainly not said it does not have a horn. So basically, he's saying back and forth that they didn't say it had a horn, but they didn't say it didn't have a horn.
Yeah.
Anyways, just one of those weird things. While M. Mullet and the Kelly in 1950, if I'm not mistaken, one of the best known African chiefs in the district came in several days, marched to inform him that the beast has reappeared. Unfortunately, that's all I can say. The M. Mullet left the district in 1951 and has not been able to get a hold of himself since then. The reward for this kind of information officially offered from the pygmy, the Tagelman proof of the animal's presence, is not yielded any results. And when Osa, the natives talk of a big animal which does have a horn on its nose, though I do not know whether it has one or several. They are just as afraid of it as the Kelly people are. Around Upa, there is also the presence of a beast which is known sometimes to disembowel elephants with its single large horn, but it does not seem to be so prevalent in this preceding districts. A specimen was supposedly been killed 20 years ago by the Duga, but has not been left on the bank in the Belgian Congo.
Okay.
So he's given a kind of report of 3 different cryptids.
Right.
One probably is Mokele and Bembe.
Okay.
The first one. the giant rhino.
Okay.
You know, we kind of talked about that in our Kelly and Bebe episode, that it may have been something like a Paraceratherium without a horn. I don't know why he said, they didn't say it didn't have a horn. If it has a giant horn on the face, they'll make mention of it.
You would imagine so, yeah. It's kind of a big featured, a prominent feature on their face.
Yes. So it's just very interesting that all over this area is basically what he's getting at. Is there's a horn thing, and the very last one is talking about them killing elephants by disemboweling them, using this big horn to kind of jut up into their body, which still persists in the modern day. They find elephants every once in a while with this death mark.
Wow, with a hole in their side, huh?
Yeah, it's like right behind the armpit.
Wow.
We don't think it's normal rhinos, because even though some rhinos have extremely large horns,
Yeah.
elephants normally handle rhinos pretty well.
Right, yeah.
But rhinos are big.
But elephants are a lot bigger.
Elephants are massive. So a French hunter turned cryptozoologist, Christian L. Knoll, which has been on the show before, best known for his investigation in the Tiger de Mort and the water lions in Chad. Actually, it was on Patreon episode, the man-eater episode.
Okay.
In the Central African Republic, also collected reports of lake rhinos from the Republic of Congo when he visited the Lake Tili area in 1997. So once again, just people talking about these aquatic rhinos. These people know what hippos are. These people know what elephants are.
Right, they can distinguish the difference.
And these are giant aquatic rhinos with an alligator tail.
Yeah, it's quite a hodgepodge of
Animals.
It's
very
different.
Very much, like I said, a ceratopsian without the frill.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
When Roy P. Merkel and James Powell traveled to the Infermo in Ypres in 1980, a part of the preliminary trip was to establish information regarding Mokele and Bembe. They heard stories of a second cryptid in the region, an amphibious horned monster. The early rumors related to a strange rhino-like animal, which killed elephants. But one of their first local informants, a young man named Joachim, gave a slightly more detailed description. There is also another animal with a horn that is very savage and kills, but it does not eat, elephants and hippopotamus. It will tear hippos and elephants apart with its great horn. So once again, probably an aggressive herbivore.
Yeah.
Because it's killing these things and not eating them. The first alleged Mokele and Bembe eyewitness interviewed by these two also spoke of a second animal, which would be the Elmanoka, the rhino killer, or elephant killer, an aquatic animal with a long horn. However, he knew very little of this animal because he'd never seen one. Just the Arab people in his village would talk about it.
Right, he gave him a telephone.
Yeah, he had seen a Mokele and Bembe, and he said that they're
something
different animals.
Yeah.
In 1981, Merkel and Harmon led an expedition to the Republic of Congo, investigated Mokele and Bembe. But the expeditions heard stories of this other animal. Regards reported and published the first in 1982. He mentioned that the name Elmanuka, which is interpreted as meaning eater of treetops or tree palms, was simply a Botanian term for Mokele and Bembe. So this kind of where it gets mixed in is he's like, it just has to be the same animal.
Yeah.
But he also received accounts of elephant killers, rhinos-like animals that appear to be having just one massive horn. The animal was blamed for killing elephants earlier in 1981. So he says this. Another strange incident related to a group where we were in Bora. It concerned the event that took place some 3 kilometers northeast of the village in February of 1981. 3 full-grown elephants were discovered dead floating in the river. All of them were killed by 2 punctures inflicted to the center of the abdomen. The bulls were retain their ivory, eliminating the possibilities of poachers or villager hunters for seeking food. The animals said that they were responsible for killing and discarding of these, or villagers said was a strange rhino-like creature, the inhabitants of the nearby forest. They took us to the site that was well documented in the area on film. We heard of this event only as we arrived in Boa. Apparently, it is not known to the people there, nor had it been related to any other expeditions passing through the area. So they're like, yeah, it's really weird to see 3 dead elephants still have their ivory and still have their meat.
You would think there'd be like a big blood trail or something.
It's
around.
hard. The Congo is a hard place to move around.
You're right, I know. But I mean, I don't know. Finding 3 elephants with huge holes
Floating down river.
Oh, I missed that detail.
They weren't laying on the bank. They were floating down the river.
Okay.
This expedition continued.
Oh, so they're getting got in the water, probably.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Or right near the water and being thrown it. They may be pushing them in.
Or, yeah, I didn't think about that.
The more of this expedition collected more descriptions of this creature. A few dozen individuals described ethnic and geological backgrounds, allowing them to describe the creature in the book Living Dinosaurs, The Search for Mokele and Bembe. This other creature in Botnia, named for the animal, was Intamnoka, and then used in the Lake T region. Less common names, like we already encountered.
Yeah. That long list of them.
Yeah. But different. Most likely these are different cryptids from Mokele bembe. Most commonly the elephant killer. According to Bill Gibson, the Ark are the only ethnic group in the region with the practice of hunting these creatures. So there are a group that go out and purposely either they don't eat them, they use them to they kill them to drive them away. Mm-hmm. They don't want them near the village.
Yeah.
So both cryptids are taken on their traits of being aquatic. But the big difference between Mokele bembe and the rhino killer is the horn and the large dragging tail. Mm-hmm. We talked about that with Mokele bembe. Not until really recent reports did Mokele bembe have the big sweeping tail.
Mm-hmm. Before it did not.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the roughness of it. I can go into more details of the description. Do you have any questions?
Of the creature?
So far? Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear that. I want to hear a little bit more about
So
this
it's a roughly elephant size or larger. The torso is said to much resemble that of Mokele bembe.
Okay.
So big, thick body.
Right.
Big pillar legs. But everything else is very different. With a heavy straight legs, heavy crocodile-like tail, which it did not drag all the time.
Which crocodiles don't either, right?
They do drag their tail on land.
The whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'm not fairly certain now. You said it. I don't think they can pick up their tail, especially when they get big.
Yeah, I don't think I can pick it up, but I was thinking straight back.
That's what they're saying is happening here.
Okay.
Is that it'll drag its tail on purpose.
Yeah.
And then lift its tail back up.
Oh, okay.
Which could be territorial markers, could be all kinds of things. Could be talking with it.
Who knows?
Anything could be possible. Merkel felt the sport was shorter than Mokele bembe, so it wasn't nearly as tall as Mokele bembe. Its skin was described as very elephant-like and hairless, with no obvious scales, brownish gray in color. However, its head and neck were shorter and larger than that Mokele bembe, as in its head was bigger,
its neck was shorter. It's more stubby.
Most distinguishing feature is the single large curved horn located on its head. The local informants claim that it's very similar to the ivory tusk of an elephant. Local depictions frequently depict this creature with a pair of what seems to be lightly frilled ears that wrap around its head. Kind of like an elephant's ears, but much tighter to the head, but longer up the head.
Okay.
So if you want to go, this is a dinosaur, it could be the ceratopsian frill that's been residual. It's receding.
Gotcha.
So it's a tighter frill. There are also clawed marks. So there are a couple footprint pictures from the African elephant killer.
Oh, okay.
So unlike Mokele bembe, which has how many?
3 toes.
This one has 4.
Ooh, so it is a different creature.
Yeah. So it could be a ceratopsian.
Yeah. What do rhinos have?
3. Remember?
So it's probably not an actual rhino
Right.
at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
What if they're like sloths, though? 2-toed, 3-toed, 4-toed?
I guess they could be. Who knows? Anything's possible.
That's right.
Rhino killers also said to be very amphibious, leaving the water at times to feed, just like Mokele bembe. It's reported herbivorous, feeding on mulabun lins, which are a local plant, which also is said to be a practical food source for Mokele bembe. There's thoughts that these two creatures may come to blows over this food source.
Ooh, okay.
The mulabun fruits are particularly feed on by they go nuts for these fruit.
Okay.
The villagers, like most people live in the areas with either Mokele bembe or the rhino killer or the elephant killer, stay super clear of the fruit because both animals are hyper obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't think, as far as I could find, nobody ever has witnessed a fight between these two.
What's the actual fruit? Does it say?
It's the fruit of that tree.
Oh, okay.
The Malabo tree.
Yeah.
It's any time that these creatures are around this, they instantly change from aggressive, foul-tempered. They'll kill buffaloes, elephants, hippos, and anything else that wanders too close to these fruit patches. Unlike Mokele bembe, though, is universally described as being a vocal animal, the elephant killer.
Okay.
Constantly making noise. Everything from snouts, howls, roars, rumbles, and growls. With Mokele bembe classically being almost silent.
Interesting. I'm looking up that tree. Is it? Oh, oops. Never mind. Go on.
Malambo?
Yeah, I think I'm spelling it right.
But like I said, 1966, French wildlife photographer Anton V. Riedel came across the series of footprints. He said they were 3-toed. To me, they look 4-toed.
Okay.
And they could be faked. You could say whatever you want about it.
Right, yeah.
He initially took him as hippo tracks, though. So he didn't really think he had anything impressive because he's like, oh, there are 4,000 or 5,000 pound mammals that live in the water here.
And you probably don't want to be in there with him because see the elephant drifting down the river right there?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You already thought there was hippos.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's tons of sightings of this, guys. 2008, I'll give you that one before we move on to the next one. Michael Ballett received a first-hand account of a horned rhino-like animal in May of 2008 from a fisherman in North Cameroon who was visiting the Bonden River, about 8 kilometers of the Congo border at Molobu. He claimed that the animal was just a week before Ballett's arrival. He was raising his nets out of the river early one morning when he saw a very large animal, big like a canoe, possibly more than 10 meters in length, moving away from him. It was dark in color. Although the fisherman could not see the head, he noticed the presence of a giant horn, which he described like that of an elephant's tusk, but pointing straight up out of the water. The fisherman was certain that the animal was completely unknown to him. He had been around hippos and rhinos and elephants, and found the fisherman native to the north for a very long time.
But this was not one of them.
Yeah, he's...
So this thing is not related to rhinos at all, but it's... It got the horn. It's got the body plan of a rhino with the tail. Right?
a big, thick alligator-like tail.
Yeah.
So like we already said, I can't remember which episode it was. Or are we in part 5?
Yeah.
I can't remember which episode it was we were in. But we talked about some ceratopsians look like they were aquatic. Now, it's hard to tell. So they could have been taking that hippo niche.
Right.
You know, being big, aggressive wetland creatures. And it looked like ceratopsians, some species of large ceratopsians preferred to nest in wetlands.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird when you think of a rhino-like animal.
Right.
But if they're more prepped for the water like a hippo,
Like hippos,
it may
yeah.
make more sense.
It makes a
to
lot more
nest
sense,
there.
yeah.
They feel more comfortable.
Right.
And think about for predators, because when they had predators, you know, giant theropods, wetlands would have been very hard for them to move around in. So if you could have environmental pressures pushing these guys closer and closer to the water and leading some species of ceratopsian to move into the water.
Right, yeah. More beneficial to them.
Yeah, because if a T-Rex, T-Rex could swim well, as far as we know. But moving around wetlands is very difficult
For anybody.
for anybody.
Yeah.
So if you are better at that than a T-Rex, it's very hard for a T-Rex to sneak up on you.
Right, that's true.
They could sneak up on you too. That's always that misconception that just because they were
Big.
15 feet tall and 45 feet long, they couldn't sneak. They just did that study with what looks like the pads on their feet. Is a T-Rex got quieter the closer it got to you.
How do they know that?
So the pads, the way that the sound would be directed by their massive feet,
Okay.
it pushes the sound out.
Okay.
So the further you are away, you get more of those residual sounds.
Okay.
As it's closer to you, it has special adaptations to not allow you to hear it. A 20-ton monster
That's odd.
got quieter, but yeah, just interesting.
How did they know the ceratops might have been like semi-aquatic?
Denser bones, some adaptation. Like we're seeing some stuff similar with hippos and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the nesting sites.
Okay. I thought they just found some fossils and took the cells they retrieved from those fossils and analyzed them and found.
What was it? Demineralized.
Demineralized their fossils into tissue and recreated it. And it's plant diet.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of dinosaurs this season finale. Some maybe not dinosaurs, some maybe giant turtles. Some maybe giant salamanders or river lake monsters. I have no freaking idea.
And they could be a lot of us order.
It could be a lot of monsters.
Could be other cryptids that we've covered.
Tons of other, yes. Now, but what kind of dinosaur are we missing?
Mosasaurs?
That's not a dinosaur.
Oh, it's not.
It's a monitor lizard relative.
Oh, okay. What dinosaur are we missing? Let's see here. We got the big sauropods, the big guys. We got the T-Rex kind of animals. We got the murder chickens. Yeah. We got the triceratops. We got the stegos. What are we missing?
Well, how about a mini? We had some mini dinosaurs, right?
Sure, all of them.
How about a dinosaur that breathes fire?
A dragon?
No,
What?
a dinosaur that breathes fire.
What? Okay, what dinosaur is this?
The Niger fire spitter.
Ooh. Aren't those dragons, though?
No, they're dinosaurs that breathe fire.
Yeah, that's dragons.
The Niger fire spitter is a dinosaur-like creature from the Alt Niger area. It was seen in 1984. It's found by local uranium mines who had been chased by the fire spitter to the town where they were shot by the local army.
The fire spitter was?
Yes.
Okay.
These guys were in the uranium mine. A fire-spitting dinosaur
Came out of the mine?
from an area of the mine.
Okay.
Chased these guys down, spitting fire at them, chased them to town, and then the army shot it to death.
Okay. I mean, it's quite the claim. What?
This, I wasn't ready for the... Well, it's quite the claim.
Yeah.
Almost all information on the Niger fire spitter comes from a single email from a man who whose servant had sent it. This makes almost the entire case hearsay. However, one fact is unbelievable is the description. The man who sent the email was a well-educated man, and his servant wasn't. Once he drew the outline of a brontosaurus-like dinosaur that showed him, expecting either a yes, I saw that on TV once, or no, sir. He was surprised to say at least his servant answered, oh yes, I've seen that before in my home village. The later corrected him by saying it didn't have a long neck and a tail like that, but had a more crocodile or caiman-like head. It also added that both of its feet were the same length. So
Yeah, front and back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it had claws. They were much like that of a Spinosaurus with proportions that he described. It even had a frill when he drew it back. So yes.
That's very Spinosaurus.
Reptilian, tough skin like that of an elephant, the color of sand with small black and white spots. Spine started at the base of the neck, become a large frill all the way to the tail. It walked on four legs that were the same length, that could stand up, though, for short periods of time. The feet were like that of an ostrich with supersized claws. The tracks on the ground were like that of an ostrich, but with extra toes. The eyewitness said it had a long neck and a tail. It is not as long as a brontosaurus in the drawing. The tail was thick and very strong. The head was like that of a crocodile with really big eyes. Big eyes may indicate the nocturnal or young creature. When attacking... Okay, before I continue. So the fire spitter looks just like a Spinosaurus.
Yeah.
Walking on all fours, though, which now is not what we understand probably as how they got around because they were just massive.
Mm-hmm.
It was breathe fire. By breathe fire, I mean it kind of spit fire, almost like a what in Vietnam? Napalm.
Oh, okay.
So it would shoot out like a liquid fire, essentially.
Okay.
And it would stick to the ground or to you.
Right. Whatever it touched.
How? Okay, I don't want to ruin it. Never mind. I won't ask the question.
What, are you afraid I'll give you the answer you don't want?
When attacked by the soldiers, the creature retaliated by spitting fire at them while hunching and elevating its spine, like it was like forcibly throwing up almost. The eyewitness indicate the height of
25 feet.
80 centimeters,
I don't know how big that is.
which is what makes people think it's a baby. The month-long stretch was undertaken in the search for its mother.
So it was a tiny little thing that was
It was
chasing him?
3 foot tall,
Spitting.
like 2.5, 3 foot tall. It's not very big.
And it was throwing up at him?
So these guys, these adult men at a uranium mine,
Yeah.
were chased by a frilled caiman, essentially, for them.
Yeah.
And then they didn't know it was... The stories go back and forth. I wasn't sure if they knew it was spitting fire until... Like, there's one email. There's one email that I really can't find the original email.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was spitting. But apparently there was a month-long search for the mother because they're like, there has to be a baby. There's an actual dragon somewhere. We have to... That's a problem.
Right. But in reality, it was just a uranium, a radio... or stricken...
Oh, a radioactive crocodile?
crocodile that was puking actively, throwing up, trying to escape where it came from. It's seen people to help, and it's screaming for help, and they just ran away from it as it's puking its radioactive guts out. And
So, fire spitters in Africa, the kuapo, are funeral head mask, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I got a little pronunciation thing, and that's the best I can do. But funeral head mask, referred to as fire spitters by outsiders. So it looks like a dragon mask.
Okay.
One of the funeral masks. Used by both the poor and POA and non-POA male societies. These helmeted masks embody the aggressive supernatural power to combat any force that might disrupt the well-being of the community. The powerful feature of antelope, buffalo, crocodile, warthog, hornbill, chameleon, and humans combined to symbolize a powerful and recall important myths. It really does look like a dragon. It looks very much like a more European-style dragon, essentially a crocodile with horns.
Right.
So sightings. Everything we know about the Nigeria fire spitter comes from an email by Philip Abui, written from Nigeria in 2002. He was not a prince, but he had money. There are no other references to this internet, the sighting, or anything else like that. So there is a version. They say this is the actual transcript
Of the email?
Of the email.
All right, here we go.
I don't know if I believe it, so we know. Everybody's clear.
Is it in English or is it translated?
It's translated.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right, let's hear it.
We'll see how much we get through before we stop. I am living in Nigeria. I often browse the web, collecting articles and topics that I am interested in. I'm an engineer. I'm a Christian. I have always thought, keep in mind, this is a rich guy that has, this servant is writing this for him.
Okay.
I always thought that a lot of us taught in school does not make sense, specifically relating geology, evolution, and time scale.
Okay, so far I'm with him.
I mean, that is the last episode of this.
Yeah, so far I'm with him.
The past few weeks, I've been reading a lot about dinosaurs on several websites. I have never really been my cup of tea, but I do have much knowledge about dinosaurs. After reading the various cave paintings, stone engravings, and clay silhouettes of dinosaurs, I thought that maybe here in Africa, there might be traditions about them as well. Just in passing, I called my steward. He is Tugan from northern Nigeria. At fringes of the Sahara, where the primary school knows and reads, and he's definitely not somebody who has much knowledge of anything in the world. He does not read newspaper, he does not watch television, save from local programs, and he does not read novels or watch movies. I quickly made a very basic drawing of a brontosaurus-like thing, actually just the outline of a long neck, fat body, short, stubby legs, long tail. Then I asked Mohammed, do you know this animal? Expecting after an embarrassment, no, or I saw that at school or on TV one time. Instead, he snapped and excited, said, yes, I know it, but it's not like that. Needless to say, I was very surprised by his reaction. What do you mean it's not like that? I saw it in my place, but the spine's on its back like that, as he gestured to show me. He came to my desk and scribbled on a piece of paper showing the spines. He had drew a crest on the back of the dinosaur. He was agitated. He started telling me stories about this. They killed one in my place. A rit. 15 years ago. The soldiers killed him. Nobody knows where he came from, but maybe from the mines, the uranium mines. But there are some people in there that said it's from the earthquakes.
Okay.
So underground, essentially, is what he's meaning.
Yeah.
When there was earthquakes, or maybe deep thunder in the ground, I don't know, but huge cracks in the ground formed, and then we seen the things. Anyways, people are afraid. We're always afraid of these animals. Some shepherds saw it in the bush, and they're attacking their flocks. They are afraid because they really have never seen things like this. They are called my people and the soldiers. The animal was spitting fire. He would hunch his back, and his spines would stand, and they'd sharp, and then he would lower his back and spit a glob of fire. Like these things, the soldiers were on their backs to spit fire. It's the same. So, talking about flamethrowers. The soldiers killed him. They took him to Prefect, a regional government building, because they wanted everyone to see it. They said it was dead because people were afraid and talking too much. They were ever refused to go to the mines to work. So this little dinosaur was causing the whole village to stop working. I saw it there. I saw it with my own eyes. Nobody ever saw something like that. Then it started looking for its mother. Because they said that it was a small one, there had to be more around, and the mother had to be around also. They called the French people from the company, and they said that they knew the animal, and that was not possible. They do not exist in Africa. One of them took a lot of pictures. I knew him. He told me that the animal was laying eggs like a chicken, and that it would sit on top of them to hatch. Then look all over the place. In the brush, in the Sahara, maybe in the mouth. We did not find anything. After the soldiers even said it was forbidden to talk about because people were relentless about it. Some people left this place. Some refused to go to work. Some soldiers did not want the unrest. I was more than surprised, and all along the surroundings still true, of something saying of this, that I came and asked in the detail of the animal. Again, just telling them out the first person thing, with the slightest hesitation, the sighting name of the people and where it happened. I asked him, how big was it? He said, not very big, like that. He gestured about, 2 to 3 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
All the spines, where they started and finished, they were on his back, from his neck to his back. Then they were on the neck? No, they started at the base of the neck. They finished at the tail.
Okay.
How were the legs? He had 4 legs, short. Were they different from the front and the back? No, same length. Any feet? The feet were like that of ostrich. They had big fingers, open, with claws like cat, but bigger. The tracks on the ground were like ostrich with more toes. And the skin, what the skin looked like, how'd it feel? I don't know how it felt. I did not touch it. But it looked strong. It looked like elephant skin. The color of sand with white spots on it. There were sprinkled paints like small spots, red and white. And the neck, how long was the neck? It had a long neck. It looked like a crocodile, but with a big long neck and big, big eyes. What about the tail? The tail was very long, very thick, very strong. He showed the tail in the drawings and very resemblant of that of a crocodile. What happened to the animal? They took it to Nimi. I don't know anymore. The soldiers did not like people talking about it, but nobody had never seen anything like that. Even our elders didn't know what it was. But if you come to Oral, there are one of my neighbors. He is now retired, and among the soldiers that have killed it, he can tell you. And they go on, basically,
Where did they take it? Nimi?
it's a government building.
Yeah, what is it? What's it? How do you spell that?
Okay. Miamey.
Miamey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he can tell you. And Kandar, he saw it too. So no, not solely. And he was there, but he was afraid. He did not come and see.
Oh, no, that's just the capital of Niger.
Oh, okay. And they took it to a building there.
Right.
I have little captions for the email, just so you know.
No, I'm just curious if it was like some Smithsonian type entity.
Oh, no, I think they just took it to the government.
Right,
essentially.
yeah, which is kind of the same thing, really.
And the white man, they were looking at it, and they were talking and saying that it's not possible and taking pictures. A lot of people came, even from the government. What do you mean about the cracks in the ground? There were cracks, very big, very deep. We could not see the bottom. The cracks were long, and they were roundabout. I do not know what happened to the cracks. We did not feel earthquakes, nor did we know anybody that knew any earthquakes. The cracks just happened one day, and people were wondering, and the next day we saw the weird animals. So people were saying that it came from there. Some said it came from inside the mine. What happened to the cracks? Now they're closed. At some point when we were sleeping, it filled back in. We don't know what happened, but today the water's coming out of where the cracks were. Water how? How much water? Not much. Like a pipe is broken in the ground. Even if the soil is on top, there is humidity coming around. When it is closed, the engineers said that it's coming from deep in the ground. And there's been worse. So the government said the crack closed. So yeah, they go on and on. So basically, I don't know. This is a pretty neat one for me. I don't know if it's real or not. It sounds goofy.
It does, but there's also parts that sound kind of legitimate.
This servant from Nigeria, talking about giant cracks opening up near this uranium mine, and they didn't hear the earthquake. They didn't feel the earthquake. They were just open one day, and then they were closed later.
It's weird. Remember that? I just looked it up too. That giant crack in Africa that's forming right now.
Yes.
That's opening. That's just also Africa. I'm just wondering if there's any other like weird creature phenomena except this stretch of crack that I just looked up. It's like over 2,000 miles long.
You don't know what's pouring out of there.
That's what I'm saying. That's hard. Anything localized, you're not going to get. But that's a long stretch of crack for things to come out of.
Yes, no, it is. No, it's very interesting. I don't know. It sounds so goofy until you read the email. But I don't know if the email's right,
Right. Yeah,
I know nothing. I want to believe it. I want to believe. Because, I don't know, stuff coming out of the ground, a fire-spitting Spinosaurus.
Well, stuff coming out of, Van Meter Visitor. What was the other one?
Tons.
Dover Demons, potentially.
Massive amounts of cryptids have poured out of the ground.
Yeah. But, so you can't rule that out. It's just whatever the fire-spitting detail is. Again, it could be lost in translation, perhaps, but if you're around uranium, what if it drank uranium water and then it's like like, uh-oh, and it's puking.
So it's just a mutated crocodile?
Yeah, it's throwing up, like, water that's so, like, it's like the Great Lakes when they caught on fire. Maybe not polluted, but polluted with in another sense, like of uranium. It catches fire when it leaves his mouth.
That could be polluted.
Maybe when it mixed with the acid in its stomach and it spit it back out, a chemical reaction, and it hit in the air, lit it on fire, combusted.
There could be another thing lost in translation.
Absolutely.
With the fire spitting, it could be acid. Plenty of animals throw up acid as a defense mechanism.
Right, yeah.
Especially babies.
Yeah.
Tons of baby birds throw up stomach acid as a defense mechanism.
Well, look on Jurassic Park.
That's okay.
What's it? What?
You've been muted.
Why? What happened?
Because it's no.
They don't do that, or what?
No, it's not. It's completely movie added.
Oh, what's spitting acid?
No, spitting. It is caustic, so I guess it would be an acid. It's venom. It's thick, sticky venom.
Oh, I didn't know it was venom. I just thought it was
like a spitting cobra.
Okay. Nice.
But it is caustic, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so there you go. The Niger fire spitter.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Which is interesting that some people connect it to the African, one of the fire spitting mask, the ceremonial funeral mask.
Yeah.
The creature supposedly looked very much like that.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's coincidence or I don't know.
What came first? What if he created this after seeing that mask?
He could easily have done that. It could be 100% fake.
Reverse
I just want to
engineered.
believe because it came out of a hole in the ground.
And it's a dinosaur.
Dinosaurs I can take or leave as far as what's real and what's fake.
But it helps you.
But when it comes out of the ground,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just
anything.
I have ideas. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
The Mora.
Mora.
It's MUHURU.
Okay, I think you may have MUH.
URU.
Murr.
Yeah, did so much better job than me. The Mora.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Mura.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I said it better. See? You're failing.
Yeah, but you're reading it. I'm trying to picture it in my head because I
Your
can't
brain
see
works
the notes.
normally. Mine doesn't.
That's up for debate.
You can read. I can't.
Well, yes.
The Mura is said to be an armor-plated, club-tailed creature that lives deep in the thick, overgrown terrain of East Africa. Some people suggest that this could be a modern example of a living dinosaur. Photographic or biological evidence is sketchy at best to prove this animal's existence, and generally consensus among cryptozoologists that the Mura is yet maybe a Jurassic relic, not unlike Mokele-mbembe. Unlike the Mokele-mbembe, which is known for its various territorial instinct, the Mura, which has been spotted primarily in Kenya, is not known to be aggressive at all.
Okay.
So very much think of like big ankylosaur.
What's an ankylosaur again?
The big club-tailed, armor-plated.
Okay, that's right.
They may not have been aggressive, but they just didn't get messed with because they were friggin' armor-plated.
They're tanks, yeah.
Yeah, that all get out.
Right.
Eyewitnesses have described the Mura as having heavily armored reptilian-like beast, large body, extremely thick bony plates jutting out all over it. There is speculation that the creature may be a surviving species of planing dinosaur, similar to that of a Stegosaurus or an Ankylosaurus. Believed to have been extinct for, depending on which species, Stegosaurus has been extinct for 150 million years, and Ankylosaurs have been extinct for 65. Stegosaurus is a very large quadruped herbivorous animal from the late Jurassic, and Ankylosaurs survived all the way to the Cretaceous.
Okay.
So despite the Mura's unique armor plating and intimidating club-like tail that seems to indicate, unlike the spikes on the tail of the Stegosaurus, the beast is more akin to that of a squat armadillo-like dinosaur, the Ankylosaur. Ankylosaurs, like I said, were bulky. There is a brief thing from Kenya in 1988. He writes this this is, I believe, Phantoms and Monsters. Sir, I want to thank you for your daily newsletter. In the spring of 1988, my father and I vacationed in Africa, where we toured several parts of the continent. During the last week of our trip, we were able to secure an invitation to the association to accompany him to Mount Ungan National Park in western Kenya. There was a bone-jarring 200-mile trek by car from Nubia to the park to attend a 10-mile-plus hike through the tough terrain. So they're backpacking in to this random place in Africa, which sounds amazing. I wouldn't do it. First off, my body would fail me.
Just depends on what part of Africa. If anywhere near the Congo, I will not be entering those
Kenya.
forests. Is that just as bad? I guess I don't know.
Oh, wait, what do you mean bad? You
Like-
mean for people violence?
No, well, no, not
For wildlife?
Yes.
Everything in Africa is one of the last continents with just tons of megafauna. So there's tons of megafauna predators.
Okay. Well, then I need one of them spheres from it was Jurassic Park to roam around in.
There you go.
Big hamster ball.
It was the most unusual area that we had visited on our trip. I especially enjoyed the caves, known for their glittering place for elephants who scratch the salt mines there with their tusks.
Wow.
This is the cave elephant area. You ever
Okay.
seen the videos?
No.
There's elephants that go super deep into these caves,
Caves?
to get salt during the crucial times of year.
Wow. Okay.
They're like, they barely fit some of these spots.
Yeah.
And they're blind the whole time they're doing it. They're doing it all by feel.
Feel. That's pretty cool.
You know how scary that is?
To have that come out at you?
No, for an elephant to be
Oh.
absolutely massive trying to fit into a hole.
I guess so. Ain't nothing really gonna bug you though.
So there's a giant cavern system that fits elephants.
yeah, that's pretty big.
Just saying. For reasons. Just
Yeah.
saying. We stayed at the park lodge. The evening we had a conversation with the park guide who mentioned that he had been in talks of a strange animal in the rainforest at the foot of the mountain. The group of locals had discovered a fresh killed male elephant who had large lacerations across his abdomen and his neck. There he was, he's not attacked by another elephant, but by the murra, as was the culprit. The guide explained that the murra is said to be a dinosaur-like animal with a larger than a fully grown elephant. My father and I were amazed by the stories of the guide told us as serious as he was talked. Another gentleman was listening in the conversation and said that he had a drawing of a murra that looked like an armor-plated dinosaur with a horned or clubbed tail. Later, I was shown the picture that resembled a stegosaurus or ankylosaurus dinosaur. They also said that they think that the elephant probably picked the fight
Ooh, started at first.
because it was a young bull elephant.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that in the show, that when they go into must, if there's no adult bull elephants around that are calmer,
Yeah.
they will go nuts and start killing everything.
Yeah.
So this young bull elephant may have just picked on somebody he couldn't pick on.
Gotcha. He bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah. Probably the only animal in Africa that a juvenile bull elephant can't kill is probably the murra
Okay.
or, any of the dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah. Or yeah, any of them.
Any of them. And what do you think of the murra?
It's an interesting one. Well, I mean, they're all interesting, obviously, but I don't know. It's a cool one.
I like the murra. There's not much to it,
No.
but it definitely seems the area is very remote they're talking about. This
But you think it's what'd you say?
ankylosaurs.
Ankylosaur.
Any of the ankylosaurs, which are basically kind of imagine halfway between like
right.
a turtle
And an armadillo.
yeah, they're very armor plated. Their whole bodies
Yeah.
are just nothing but armor.
and a pangolin.
There you go, a pangolin. It could have been an absolutely massive pangolin.
The African
Mm-hmm.
giant pangolin.
Yes. So this next one may be another hoax, but we'll talk about it. The Kaiser Rex. Kaiser Rex, I think it's Kaiser. The Kaiser Rex is a gigantic theropod cryptid from the Kaiser Valley of the Dominican Republic of Congo. All I've learned from doing this show is never go to Congo.
Right. That's why I don't want to go there.
It is said to be a surviving species of giant theropod dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus rex or Giganotosaurus. The cryptid's namesake, although quite low possibilities of it indeed a living African theropod. It has also been depicted in some other places as a gigantic monitor lizard as well, but being or a bipedal terrestrial crocodile.
Okay.
So depending on who you're talking to, which tribe members, which culture, it's either a giant bipedal monitor lizard, giant bipedal crocodile, or a dinosaur.
Right. Or dinosaur.
In the sightings, one day in 1932, an explorer and Swedish hunter, John Johnson.
Again with the Scandinavians.
Yes, I don't know what it is. Was wanted to hunt a huge elephant. So he had his servants leave their camp in Cape Town. They crossed the swamp and finally reached the savannah in the Carsa Valley, which seemed to be desolate. There were no other animals there. Not a good sign.
Yep. We've been here
The
before.
whole dinosaur series.
Yeah.
If you see no other animals, especially like big animals like crocodiles and elephants,
There's a dinosaur around.
it takes a lot to move an elephant. That was until the servant yielded in excitement when he saw two elephants. So Johnson got his shotgun ready, and something was wrong with them. There were only two, and instead of an entire herd. About 44 meters away, there was something in the underbrush stalking the elephants. And you could tell that the elephants were like in a panic state, like they could sense something was around.
Yeah.
And suddenly, this something, a strange creature, jumped out, and the servant dropped to the undergrowth, while Johnson was paralyzed, changed aim, and decided to shoot the strange creature. He shot the creature 3 times. Only one shot hit it, hitting it in the back. The creature backed away and then left.
Ooh.
You imagine that? You shoot a T-Rex.
Or whatever mysterious creature, yeah.
And
Monster.
it's staring at you and backs away.
Yeah.
You just made an enemy.
For sure, for life.
Yeah. Sorry, it just made me laugh. I gotta find where I was. Talk for a second.
Well, I would shoot a
The
T-Rex
creature backed
in the
away
back.
and left. Johnson then got his servants up from the ground, and they decided to go back to his camp in Cape Town. But first, they had to cross a swamp. They were halfway across the swamp when they heard a splash and thought it was crocodiles. We wish it was crocodiles.
That's the only time that's ever been uttered.
Johnson looked everywhere until he saw 22 meters away from him was the same creature he saw in the savannah, tearing the hump off a rhino.
Ooh.
And one foul bite, it tore the rhino's torso in half.
Okay, it's a big creature.
Johnson's servant ran absolutely terrified. They left Johnson there alone.
Did he live?
He immediately thought of shooting the creature, but remembered the terrified how his servants were when he had taken his shotgun. So the servant had taken the shotgun with him.
So he had nothing to shoot it with.
But he still had his camera. So he took a photo of the creature. Upon hearing the click, it sank quickly into the lake. The rhino's body floated there in a pool of its own blood.
Jeez.
So another again, it backed away slowly.
Yeah, after hearing a camera click. Now, does that photo exist?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Don't worry, baby girl. Upon returning to camp, Johnson was shivering and shaking with the camera. Collapsed, and the men picked him up. It was reddish in color, with a blackish colored stripes. He said in the interview with the newspaper, it had a long snout with numerous teeth. He described the creature 13 meters long, 43 feet, like a Tyrannosaurus. And he said the legs were thick. It reminded me of a lion built for speed. At the beginning of the year of 1933, a group of men made up of 5 hunters, along with a recognized ivory trafficker, went to the Kaiser Valley to hunt for a creature called the Kaiser Rex by the newspaper, which they had thought was a giant crocodile. And they were there to hunt their skin for a good price. So poachers. Mm-hmm. Poachers went in to kill the beast that they heard about, assuming it was a giant crocodile or something.
Oh, let's see how this one ends.
It was not. They arrived in the Kaiser Valley. They passed through the same swamp that Johnson had passed through the previous year. One of the hunters was frightened by the reddish tail sinking into the lake.
Oh, he saw it.
He said they thought it was a giant snake like that of an anaconda, wrong continent, until the atmosphere became tense. They readied their weapons and were surprised by a wave of water that fell to them on one side. The reddish tail had landed a massive, violent hit to one of the hunters, and they fell into the water. The other 4 began shooting at the reddish mass as it submerged. Then they saw nothing. One wave of water had disappeared throughout the surface. The fallen man, with broken arms, got up, tried to reach for his companions. The roar was heard from underneath the water. They moved as fast as possible, but their path was hindered by a gigantic creature that came from the right side and then submerged to the left side again. The hunters then hid themselves among the rocks until they end up leaving the area.
Oh, so they just hid out until this thing left.
Yeah, because at first it smacked the one with the tail.
Yeah, broke
and then it
his
was
arms.
like jumping at him out of the water.
Okay.
So I don't know. You could say I don't know if this one was a crocodile. I don't know if any of this was real.
Well, reddish though.
Yeah, it could be like a really crazy croc.
Okay.
It's just weird. Some more possible sightings. Rupert Hersman was considered a great hunter and an expert zoologist. Had over 100 animal heads that he had himself hunted during the safaris.
Okay. Experienced hunter.
Yes.
He's got some trophies on the wall.
Although everything is different now, it should be mentioned that hunting at the time was not considered a crime rather than a hobby. Because a lot of the things that he killed were definitely illegal now.
Probably, yeah.
No, in 1950, Robert Henson thought of making a trip to Africa into the jungles of Congo, ensuring they would find exotic and never discovered species, and promptly display them on his mantle.
I was going to say, he's going to shoot him and put him on his wall.
However, the trip was delayed a year due to the death of his wife. And in August of 1951, Henson made the trip to Africa in oh my gosh. I said it wrong every time. The Kaza Valley. The town of Motobo, where Henson had settled, was hunting with the only thing he could make him smile after the death of his wife. With the help of 5 natives, Robert passed the Kaza River in his Jeep because he knew that his prey had become there. As far as considered to be 6 days, they would camp enough time to give him to hunt. However, after day 6, the people didn't see them coming back, so they waited a few more days, thinking that they wouldn't come back because of the rain, and the river had gotten bigger. After that, they still didn't come back. So a group of 10 people from the village and 5 people from the military regiment were sent to find them. The next day, they found traces of the camp, seeming the initial base of Robert and his group had seen the initial base of Robert and his group. The rescue group estimated that they were 2 days from them. It was thought that the Henson had gone into the depths of the Kaiser Valley to hunt something else, since they had already found skins of everything from gazelles to elephant. The research group the rescue group camped out there until the next morning, and they continued the search. The strange thing was the valley seemed to be desolate. No sign of life absolutely anywhere.
Uh-oh.
But after they walked several kilometers, they found Robert and his group, but not the way they expected. Just pieces of them.
Oh, no.
They had found a temporary camp, which had been completely destroyed. About 10 meters away, there were several pieces of Robert's companions, mostly limbs and heads, and crushed and torn flesh. The remnants were all mixed up. It was impossible to tell who was who. When what belonged to Robert, what belonged to the men. Only one forearm with a hand was included in bad condition, with nothing more was found. They knew it was Robert from a tattoo.
Okay.
An investigation in the case was made, and there was two hypotheses. The first one that happened was illegal hunters, ivory trackers, had brutalized the men, which isn't unheard of, but it's really strange to this level.
Out in the middle of nowhere. Like to leave. Normally you'd leave that for someone to find. I guess they did come across it.
Ivory hunters do it to send a message to anybody who would interfere with them.
Right, yeah.
In the big game community.
Right.
So, yeah, they want them to find a brutalized thing. So it's at their camp.
Right, yeah, makes sense.
But it's a little more extreme than even they normally did.
Okay.
Sorry, where was I?
Much more animalistic, you might say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, the first one is legal hunters, ivory trackers, bullets. The second hypothesis is some animal had killed Robert and his group. Remnants appeared to be chewed up, sequentially spat out. But nevertheless, Robert's gun had never been had been fired, as shotgun shells were found all over the scene. No animal corpses were found nearby. There were no further hunt expeditions, as Robert could have failed to shoot any animal that would attack him. In addition, they did not explain what happened to the crushed body parts, including the heads that had popped.
Jeez.
Yeah. So the original photo, as far as we can tell, is a hoax.
The creature.
Kaiser Rex. Yeah.
Okay. I was about you're about to say this massacre scene. I'm like,
No,
what?
so this is on newspapers. The massacre scene's in newspapers.
Okay.
The original sighting with the photo,
Right.
Some people, it's been mostly debunked as a hoax.
Okay.
The people that say that it's not a hoax, there's a group that say that it is a monitor lizard in the picture.
Yeah.
So there's a group that say it's a hoax, that it's not a Tyrannosaurus Rex. There's a group that say it's a complete hoax. And there's people that say it's real. I don't know. Believe whatever you want. We're having fun with dinosaurs.
Right, yeah. Where do you fall?
Where do you fall? Where do you fall? So I got one more for this episode.
Okay.
It's a short one. Don't worry. I know you're getting hot. And you're cold. And you're yes and you're no.
I'm in and I'm out.
The Nagubu.
Nagubu?
The Nagubu.
Nagubu.
Ngoubou.
Yeah. I like that, Nagubu.
I'm trying not to say Zabumafu. There's nothing to do with Zabumafu, but
It's just hard to resist.
another one-horned animal. Also tons and tons of dinosaur-like cryptid. Unusual reports in the East Cameroonian described as a rhino-like animal similar to that of the elephant killer in the Congo, but quite a distance away. The term, I'm not even going to say it right,
Nagubu.
is a non-specific being applied to two separately distinct cryptids. One is a savanna-dwelling, and the other is amphibious. Both are known animals. It is something like that appeared like the Mokele-mbembe. So in this area where it is, this is a name for two different monsters. One is a savanna monster, one is an aquatic monster.
Okay.
Depending on the pronunciation, though, is how you get which animal it is.
Okay.
Both are spelled the same. It's a rhino, like the first one was rhino or hippo-like animal. It's first heard from Cameroon in 2000. Bill Gibson and Dave Waltz. Later in 2001, the Crypto Safari of British Columbia Scientific Cryptozoological Club expedition. During the second expedition, members collected descriptions of two sightings of apparently well-known or unknown animals referred to as by the BIGFOOT people. Gibson had photographs and drawings of both of the depictions by the BIGFOOT people. Michael Ballett also collected accounts. The better-known version is said to have lived in the remote areas of the Savannah west of the Buma River, towards that of the Central African Republic. In 2000, the BIGFOOT people considered this creature to be extremely rare, but they believe they still exist.
Okay.
So what that means is the baka think that it's very endangered. That they used to, their ancestors used to see them more often, and now they're very rare. Several people had claimed to see one or even two at a time. There were no recent sightings, though. The further the senior community members had allegedly speared one to death some decades before. The other version, the lesser known but better supported claim sightings of an aquatic animal in this area, rivers and swamps nearby. Gibson and Waltz learned that the elderly Baka couple claimed to observe this creature in the river. So it's very much a bulky, thick-bodied, like armor-plated animal. One big rhino-like horn.
Right. Just like the elephant thing.
Yeah, the elephant killer. It just had a little tail. This may not be a dinosaur. This kind of gets classified as an African dinosaur. This may be something else, which we'll talk about in the last episode.
Oh, darn it.
What?
So it's not a rhino?
It could be.
It could be a rhino, I mean.
The double-horned river one, though, is then been captured and killed by a Baka elephant trap in 1996 in the river. So they make elephant traps. It's like beaver traps, but for elephants.
Well, does Trapper make those?
Yeah, I think he does. We can ask him. I'll give him a call. But no, they said that in 1996 they caught and killed one. The Baka then used this trap. It's a concealed pit filled with pikes along a forest trail. Jeez. And they returned a week later and found this dead animal inside it.
Oh, okay.
And it was not a rhino, it was not a hippo, it was not an elephant.
Yeah.
It was its own thing. In 2000, during November, the Gibson expedition in Cameroon, this animal was allegedly shot and killed by villagers nearby. When the Cameroonian minister, Pierre Simi, arrived there 2 days later, he ate with what the villagers told him was the flesh of the creature, which he said tasted much like pork. The rest of the flesh was eaten by the villagers, and the bones were given to the village dogs. Villagers may have sawed off the horns of the creature and sold to a French logger. The party of a white man identified the logger, who allegedly had captured a dua at the same time, which is a different African animal.
Okay.
This exact pedigree of this creature it's really hard. This is one we don't know a lot about. It's very much a he say, she say kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has been European and African living dinosaur sightings.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't make anybody mad that we did them both together.
I don't think so.
It's an hour, 40-minute episode.
Yeah.
Europe was too short by itself.
Right, yeah.
It's Europe's fault, not Africa's fault. Africa had plenty.
Europe's fault, not Africa's. It usually is, isn't it?
Because Europe killed all theirs much earlier.
Yeah.
No, what do you think?
Well, Africa's most of the European ones were, again, in the northern and eastern, and there was that one in Spain too. Okay, so there's some, but still, like you said earlier, Europe's pretty small. It doesn't have as much remote places, but where we found the remote places, they were still there. They were still there. And then Africa's very gigantic.
The continent is huge,
and it's so much bigger than like what maps that we're normally looking at.
So the thing with Africa is, if you look at megafauna from across the planet, Africa has the most still standing megafauna.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me if you really wanted to say that there were living dinosaurs out there. Africa would be a really good candidate.
Really good spot, yeah.
They kept most of their megafauna from the last extinction of it.
Right, yeah. It's protection areas. I don't know.
Protection areas.
Maybe.
Well, hopefully you guys are still enjoying this. I don't know if we have one or two more episodes. But once again, I have been the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I've been JClone33.
And we'll catch you next week with what, part 6? All right, sounds great.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to Cryptids the Corn podcast. Remember, the best way to support the show is share it with a friend. But if you are craving more of the J clones
and more from Mr. E,
there's always extra content on Patreon
and our paid member space on cryptidsofthecorn.com.
We'll catch you next time with more exciting, fun, and informative information. Bye.